Hey there everyone, and welcome to the 6th episode of Archer Builds. This is the final video going through the skills here, going through the last 3 skills, which are On the Hunt, Death Arrow, and First Aid. Now if you're watching this video after watching the other ones, there are 2 videos that are coming after this. They may be out already when you're watching this. There's one on the builds and creating sort of setups, how many skill points to put in different things, how do you put in skill points as you develop. That's the next video coming out, episode 7. And then episode 8 is going to be about skill runes. So there may be more episodes after that, which will be updated versions of the skill runes one, or maybe of particular skills and stuff, if those things have changed a lot. So yeah, just wanted to say that in this final one. But anyway, so let's go into the first skill. These are 3 advanced skills, which means it goes for all of them that they need 99 points in them in order to be effective. Before 99 points, they have too long a cooldown. They don't have enough stats on them to really make them viable compared to the other skills on the class. This first one is for Hunter, and it's to go with the trap skill here. So Hunter, I say to go with, I mean you get that pair of skills together on Hunter. So this skill is a bit of a party play option. It's quite interesting. It gives you some nice buffs. So and it's to your whole party. If that wasn't clear, the 30% move speed is good for getting around, and then you've got 100% armor buff, which you may think of as like, you know, halving the damage you take or doubling your armor. But in fact, we've already got 105% boost. That is from guild bonus and the passive. So in fact, what this does is it reduces the damage you take by about a third. It's great for Archer to have something that reduces the damage, which you can stack with 1 or 2 other things to reduce damage by a fair amount. But because the cooldown is 20 seconds, the duration is only 5 seconds, you can't really use this in the same way the other classes have armor buffs. And it's worth noting as well, if you use this in a party and you're playing with archers or knights, wizards or knights, this armor buff is not going to help them because they've already got armor buffs on their class which they'll be using. So an extra 100% on top of that is actually not going to be much of a percentage difference. So anyway, this only really helps archers, and then the movement speed, you know, helps everyone. So where this really comes into play is not so much in combat. The 100% armor boost is good, but like it's not enough really to like grant using this skill. The movement speed, most of the time as Archer, you kind of want to be stood still and attacking rather than like running around the map and spamming off skills like you can with Wizard or Knight. So this doesn't really play into the Archer playstyle a lot of the time. So what you want to look at for this is actually in the skill runes a bit more. Right now we've only got 1 skill rune. There'll be other skill runes coming later, obviously. But this 1 skill rune, what this does is it increases your shadow stat by 100%. That is for your whole party again. I think it is for your whole party. Yes, for you and your allies. So it's going to boost any shadow damage you're dealing. Now I'm assuming that the other skill runes are going to be for the different elements. So there's going to be one for like boosting your fire, one for boosting your water and stuff. So that's where this can get interesting. Is it can help boost your party, do more damage to particular enemies, and so it can be great for PvE in that way. In PvP it can set up a certain skill, and that's actually where you can use this. So let's talk about that quickly, but after I show it first of all. So this is me running around, then when I use it there's a little animation, and then you start running around a little bit faster and you'll take less damage. I'm invincible right now, so you can't see the damage reduction, but that's what happens. And you can see with the cooldown potion, it's like 8 seconds or so. So you can use this quite frequently, but it's not going to be a constant buff. And you've got the animation to use it, which isn't that great. So talking about where this actually becomes in use. So if there are skill runes which do interesting things, then that can be good. If there are ones which can boost the element of that you're using, you can see because you can have this active quite a lot of the time. You can gain that boost a fair amount of the time. Where this gets interesting, gets like where it would be best, in my opinion, is in PvP to set up your first attack. The reason being is that the elemental buff will increase the damage of that first attack you do. The armor means that you're going to enter combat, or maybe the first hit you take from something is going to deal less damage to you. And the move speed means that you can run around a corner and then attack someone with something else. I should do these enemies now. You can run around a corner and attack someone with another attack, and they won't see it coming so much because you're moving faster, that you're going to have some desync between you. Some people don't like using that kind of thing to your advantage, but like it's just kind of the way the game works. There's a little bit of desync between people, especially when you have high move speed. So by increasing your move speed and running around a corner, you can sneakily get in and do an attack, and maybe start off with a stun that came out of nowhere for them, and then you can like link that into your other attacks. So that's where this really comes in use, in my opinion. But there may be other uses with skill runes, and otherwise this can just be be a lot of fun to use, and it's a nice little party buff. The next skill to talk about is Death Arrow. Now this is one which I believe is going to become really strong when it's got better skill runes. Right now, very few of the advanced skills have got good skill runes. Death Arrow is not one of them. It only has, it has a pathetic skill rune, absolutely pathetic. So this deals like higher base damage than most things, and the cooldown's only 10 seconds as well. So this is actually surprisingly similar to Volley, except while Volley is a single target attack that does a bit more damage than this, this hits all enemies in a path. So I'm going to try to show this. I don't know, I think we can only really get 3 enemies right now, but if I use Death Arrow, I need to switch insignia, of course. I look like a noob with it saying, you need to wear the sniper insignia for this. Okay, so if I use this, yeah, I managed to hit both of them, cool. But as you can see, the damage is not, I haven't got myself geared up properly for this right now. So the damage is just pathetic. So anyway, that's the way this works. It's pretty simple, big damage skill, hits everything in a row, works very nicely combined with all the other stuff you have on the class where you're trying to group enemies together and attack them all at once. A lot better than Volley. So where Volley is kind of the PvP version where you do lots of damage to an individual target, Death Arrow is more the PvE version where you can do you can hit lots of enemies at once with high damage. However, that is provided you have a good skill rune for it, and at the time making this, the skill runes aren't very good, so you're not going to be able to do that. But ultimately that's where this skill is heading, I think, and it should be a lot of fun and really good once it got that stuff available to it. The last skill is an incredibly good skill. So if you're playing the game right now at the time I make this video and you're wondering which advanced class to go for, there is a very definite choice, and it is Sniper, and it's because of this skill First Aid. So there is kind of a bit of healing on the class, but like not that much. There's not much healing or defense, but this skill has it all in one. I say that some archers would very much critique me on that. There is not much defense coming from it, but it gives you loads of healing. So I'm invincible right now, so you can actually see the healing, but it heals you by 20% every second for 10 seconds. And with a cooldown of 20 seconds, you can see when I use this, it's going to be like 9 seconds. So, with a cooldown potion, you can have this constantly on. In PvP, after the halfway point, because right now after the halfway point, everyone gets a cooldown reduction. You can have this going constantly, so you can constantly be recovering health. It makes you very hard to kill. This is brilliant, and it works in many combos, which I'll go into in my next video, talking about builds and that kind of stuff. And this, is a really, really cool skill. I was very, very surprised when they added this to the class because it is very strong. But not only that, the base skill is strong, also the skill runes are strong. So we've only got one right now, and I have no doubt that later skill runes will do other cool things too. This current one, what it does is it has a 20% chance on any damage you take. That is, each hit you take has a 20% chance of being completely negated, so you take nothing from it, and you then deal a bit of shadow damage in the area around you. So I'm going to show you this now. So when I use it, there's a little animation. I'm then going to be like this. As you can see, when I get hit, sometimes there's a shadow explosion, which that's when I took no damage from that hit, and I'm doing a hit of damage. It doesn't reflect the damage that you're taking, it just does a hit of shadow damage. This is actually one of those unique skills as well, which you can reuse, I believe, before the buff ends, so you can just keep using it as soon as it comes off cooldown, which is very, very useful. It's a lot easier to use than some other skills. But anyway, so that's what happens with the skill. That's how it works. Looks kind of simple, I guess. It's probably simpler to explain than I thought it was going to be. But ultimately, this opens up a lot of other options by adding that healing in. You can use it in combination with other stuff. In PvP, this is absolutely brilliant because it gives you that defense which you need in one skill. That's a very, very solid skill. So I hope that's it's been interesting looking through these skills. We've gone through all of them now, and I've sort of shown the best skill runes as I've gone through. They're just best current skill runes. So if you're watching this at a later date, you know, they may not be the best skill runes. But thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you now know what you want to do with some of these skills. You know them each better, and I will see you in the next video.